Thank you very much. Officially welcome to Musicians Institute. We're absolutely thrilled to be hosting this event, Music Pro 26. I also want to do a special thank you to Beth Slusher from the Give a Note Foundation. Right? And also Erwin Cornfield for giving us this wonderful opportunity and choosing us to host this event. Thank you, Erwin. Thank you, Beth. In case, for those of you who don't know, if you're not too familiar with us, I want to give you a little bit of background. Musicians Institute was founded in 1977 as the Guitar Institute of Technology. Some of you may remember GIT for many, many years. Still here, still exists. After that year of 77, bass and drums were added the following year. Early 80s, keyboard, vocals. From the 80s till now, we've also developed programs for music production, 3 different types of music production, one of them even for all electronic music. Also songwriting, studio recording, audio engineering. We also have programs for composition, which is pretty unique. It's composing music for visual media, so writing music for film, TV, video games. What else? Also music business, all about the business, all about the music industry and the business side of it. We are gonna have a table set up outside, so just come out, check out all the booths that are out there. I've been already looking around, some amazing vendors out there. Come by our table, we have lots of information and also lots of really cool swag. So it's all free, so come by and check it out. Now I would like to introduce you to your host for this morning, Kevin Breuner, currently serving as the head of artist development and education at BandLab Technologies. He brings over 25 years of experience in the music industry. His career encompasses roles both as a recording artist and with the Atlanta-based band Smalltown Poets. And he's also an industry professional. With Smalltown Poets, the band has sold 300,000 albums, received a Grammy nomination, and produced 10 top 10 radio hits, including 2 #1 songs. Additionally, Kevin's music has been featured on Peacock, ABC, NFL, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Previously, Kevin played a pivotal role in marketing at CD Baby and development with DIY Musician brand, focusing on content for musicians. Now at BandLab Technologies, he is dedicated to advancing new opportunities in creator development. Please let me welcome to the stage, Kevin Breuner.
All right, how you guys doing? It's early for musicians, but we're here. We're here doing it. Excellent. Welcome to Music Pro 26. On behalf of myself, Music Pro Insurance, and the Give a Note Foundation, I'm so glad you're here. We have an awesome weekend planned for you. This is like my favorite thing to do in the whole year, is be at events like this with other artists and people that are in the industry, aspiring to be in the industry. Take advantage of every moment you can. These are the kind of relationships and moments that you get that really help build your career. There's people here that have been doing things in the business that you've been hearing about, reading about, and you have access to them this weekend. So take advantage of that. I've got a few housekeeping things to take care of before we bring out Steve Vai, because I know that's why you're really here. You're not here to hear me speak. Tonight, after all our sessions, we have a networking event at Mel's Diner, which is just next door. And then we're back here at 7 or 7:30, it's on the schedule, I forget the exact time, for a showcase in this room. And then we're gonna cap the night off with the Pandora after party. All that information is on the schedule. Take advantage of it. We're gonna have a long, fun day together, and that's just the beginning. A huge shout out to the Give a Note Foundation. One thing that's different about this conference is it's a fundraiser for them, helping advance music education. I've taken part in music education my whole life. I studied music in college, and it's been so life-changing and enriching, and more people need to be learning music. The world needs more musicians. All right. Let's see. Oh, also, Sunday, you want to stick around all the way to the end because we have a huge giveaway session. We're going to be giving away guitars, gear, all sorts of stuff. And then we're going to have T-Bone Burnett here closing it out. Legendary producer. You won't want to miss that. Like I said, this weekend is just stacked. All right. Our first session features an amazing artist who a few years ago received an honorary degree from Musician Institute. While many artists fit easily into a single category, he remains unclassifiable. Over his career, he's sold over 15 million records, won 3 Grammy Awards. His supergroup Steve Vai band kicks off a new tour next week. I could list all his credits and things, but that would take the whole session. Unbelievable musician. He's inspired millions of musicians around the world and is one of the most storied guitar players in history. There's so much to talk about. Let's just get him out here. Please welcome to the stage, Steve Vai. Steve, welcome. Thanks for...
Thank you. Nice to be here. Good morning, everybody.
I have to say your jacket game is strong.
Wow. My favorite Christmas gift this year.
Excellent. Well, you have, it seems like in 2026 you were having almost a nice career year. You've got a tour that's starting next week, one of several tours you mentioned you're going on. You did a collaboration with FIFA for the theme song, a reimagining of Van Halen's Jump for the World Cup, which is going to be the theme song. You're going to hear it over and over again all around the world. And it just seems like 2026 is coming up Steve Vai. And I'm loving it, especially it seems like guitar had been out of the forefront of popular music for a while, and to hear like everyone around the world that watches the World Cup, hearing your guitar again, it seems like you're reaching a whole new audience. And how do you keep it fresh after all these years?
Shower. Well, I love the creative process of music, making music and getting involved in various projects. And 26 was a great year. I've been on tour since May of 22. Because a lot of things just kind of came in, like I had finished a solo record and I needed to do a big tour, so I was out for 19 months doing that. And then directly out of that, I was into Beat. Beat is a band with Tony Levin, Adrian Blue, and Danny Carey. And yeah, we're great. And we play the 80s music of King Crimson. There's a huge audience for it. It's very challenging because I have to play Robert Fripp's guitar parts. 35-year-old Robert Fripp at the top of his game, and you get a 65-year-old. Oh my God! But it's great fun. So then Joe Satriani and I started to. We've always kind of toured together with G3, but now we decided to create a band. Create a record. So we finished the record this year, and yesterday was the last day of rehearsal. Monday we leave on tour. So I'm on tour in North America with Satch for 2 months, and then I have 2 days off to go to Europe and kick off a Beat tour for 2 months, and then I have a month, and then 3 months in America. I'll be out till Christmas. So it's fun. I love doing it. And the Coca-Cola thing, the FIFA, that was interesting because you never know what comes in onto your desk, across your desk. A lot of things. Some you can do, some you don't want to do, and some that you just can't. I got a call from the White House. They asked if I'd be interested in playing at the Kennedy Center honors. And I'm not a political person, really. I had done it before, and it was a great event. I really enjoyed it, but I just couldn't make it work because of things. And then when this came across, at first I was like, well, it's the World Cup. That's a big boy game, And I thought Jump, because usually they have a theme, and sometimes it's a new piece of music, and it's an anthem, and they really marry it to the game and the brand. But this year they decided to use Jump, which is actually a great anthem.
No, it's a great rendition.
Yeah, but that's about the only thing that they kept, So at first I thought, okay, FIFA, World Cup, great. This is just the thought process, you know. Jump. I love the song. I love the solo, you know, because they asked me to do the solo, and I thought, yeah, but that's weird. I don't want to do a solo when everybody knows that what Edward's solo is. Because I've heard people do that, and it wouldn't matter what I did. It would be, yeah, but it's not that, you know? So I thought, well, I want to do it, but, and then I heard the track, and they reimagined it. It was really kind of cool. And the solo section was completely different chords, different everything. So you get this feeling, everybody knows it, when something resonates with you. Naturally, organically, you just go, yeah, that feels right. A lot of times we have offers or things come across our radar, and although it may not feel quite right, there's other factors involved in compelling you to make a decision. And I've learned that it's usually best to wait until all the components line up and you feel an authentic recognition of something that is right for you. Okay, yes, yeah, you know. So that's what I look for on any project now. And it wasn't always like that. And I understand, because people are working musicians, and sometimes you got to do things that might not necessarily completely resonate, but you know, you've got economics to balance and all that stuff. And that's fine. But in all the work that people take, the amount that they move towards that is inspiring to them, and the amount they move towards because I have responsibilities and I got to make ends meet and all this, it varies. And it'll even vary in one person's life through their life, you know? So there can be a fear with throwing yourself helplessly into only those things that resonate with you. Because there's a little voice in the head, you know, this is, well, what if you fail at this? And what if, no, you have to go make money or something like that. And that's a legitimate concern, you know, at times that takes precedence. But you're only ever going to feel the delicious feeling of true satisfaction and fulfillment when your authentic creative impulses are manifesting through you.
Amen.
Yeah.
So in a situation like a partnership with FIFA, are they just sending you tracks and you track at home and it's like a one-day thing for you, or how involved are you in the process of something like that?
I always aim to please. It's almost like a curse, you know, because they know, they have to know, if they're giving it to me, they don't know what they're going to get back, and I usually don't compromise because I don't have to, you know, because I don't mind if I don't do it, you know. And the best way to create a cachet of your authentic voice is to not compromise, you know. But in a situation like this, I knew I was going into a commercial endeavor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you can't go, yeah, okay, well, I'm just gonna, you know, I don't care what they think. No, you want to work. Really great team of people. You know, I worked with all these young, well, you know, young to me now is 40. You know, so I always want to make sure that whoever I'm doing something for, if I'm doing that, I don't want them to just be satisfied. I want them to be completely blown away. You know, why not? If you can, you know, that's the goal. You know, I want them to be really happy. And it was fun, kind of a project. So I got this track and they said, okay, just do your thing, you know? So I listened and I did, and there, you know, there was some discussion, and I added more stuff, and to the point where, okay, so the track started out a certain way, and it has all these breakdowns, really interesting, you know, rap stuff, and it had to go through their creative, you know, gauntlet. So I would get it back, and the producer would have changed a section here, and so that they said, "What do you have anything for this?" So I try a few things, put it in there, send it back, and this project was a lot of back and forth, because it's the kind of situation where you become part of a team, and you want the team to all be excited and feel good about whatever it is everybody else is contributing. And that's always great, it's fun, and that's the way this project went. You know, how it turns out when it hits the world and stuff, you don't have any control over any of that. In a way, the only real responsibility you have is to do your absolute best to contribute in your uniquely creative voice. And it's there. Everybody has a uniquely creative voice. And if you don't believe that, you're just wrong. You know, because it's obvious. Everybody looks different. Everybody's different. There's not two people that were ever born or ever will be born that are the same. It's impossible. Yeah. So that would stand to reason their creative impulses are different. Yeah. So when you're putting your voice into something, it's always nice to feel like, there it is. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You looking at your whole career, it seems like you've had a very measured approach. Like it doesn't, like looking at your discography and how often you release music, it feels like Steve's confident, where he's not anxious, where I feel like a lot of artists, it feels like they have a moment and they just feel like they have to grasp onto everything, but it feels like your career's been very measured. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna pursue the things I wanna do. Is that a correct assessment? And if so, is that something that you learned over time, or you just have always been not worried about whether another gig's gonna come or there's gonna be another opportunity?
Well, I'll speak honestly and frankly, because I know that it can be helpful for many people who were in a similar heading out into a similar situation. I was very innocent and naive as a youngster. And when I would experience music, it just felt natural. I understood it. I wanted to be a composer. Music was very clear, and I didn't know that was something that natural musicians come into the world with. So I never thought about doing anything else. I never made a choice to be a musician. You know, I never got to a point where it's, well, what do you want to do in life? Do you want to, if you want to be a musician, fine, but go to school and get these degrees. Or is it nothing like that at all, ever. I was very happy, and as a matter of fact, I assumed I was going to be a high school music teacher. Because it didn't matter to me. I knew nothing about the future, which is a great freedom. When you don't know, when you face the fact that you don't know anything about the future, you can forgive it. It doesn't have to burden you, because you'd be surprised how often fear of the future burdens people and restricts them from being their naturally creative self. So I didn't know about the future, and I knew I didn't know. But what you do know is right now. You know what you want to do now, or you're working out what you want to do now. And when you give quality attention to your creative output now, in your now, meaning if you're totally present with the work you do, you're going to be doing the best that you can do. You won't be able to avoid it. It'll just be, and this, when a person finds that creative interest, because everybody, I believe, everybody has a gift, some kind of insight into something that makes real sense to them. And it could be business, it could be music, it could be art, it could be cooking, it could be something as simple as knitting, it could be building a brick wall, because everybody has different intelligence levels. And you know, there's people that they don't want to create a bank, they want to build that wall because they know that whatever it is, you got it, it's there. And when you discover it, here's how you know, because what you're giving your attention to is exciting to you. There's an enthusiasm when you lock on to something that really resonates with you personally, not the rest of the world, what everybody's telling you should work for you. That's a form of insanity. That when you personally go, aha, yeah, I get it, I see it. You can't even understand why other people don't see it, unless they have similar interests. So that's a very, it needs to be an innocent approach to those things, and the obstacles to actually embracing your uniquely creative endeavors are the thoughts in your head. It's your own fears. It's your own little thoughts that go, I see this, I'm gonna do that, because that's I feel enthusiasm over it. And there's two things that come with aligning with your natural, unique, creative instinct. One is the feeling of enthusiasm over the idea. You get a download. Actually, creative ideas that come to you that resonate perfectly with your creativity, creative interests, they almost come as downloads. They just go poof. And there's two things that they come with. One is the feeling of enthusiasm for the idea, and the other is an inherent knowing that you can do it. Like there's something in you that says, that's what I want, and I know I can do it. I know I can do it. You don't believe you can do it, because believing means you don't really know. I believe I can do it, but I don't know. No, knowing has a different feeling. There's no belief in it. So when you hit those two things, you're on your way to being an incredibly valuable contributor to the planet. Because what you create in that state is infused with quality. And you know you're doing it because as you're going through the process, there's a feeling of joy. Everything else goes away. Time stands still. It seemingly stands still. It actually doesn't exist. It is your natural state of being. This is natural. But what happens, because of where we are as a species, many people are doing this. They do it every day, all day. Sometimes it's their work, sometimes it's their hobby. And I always suggest, whenever you can recognize that, just try to increase the amount of time and attention you're giving to those passionate things. So that what I'm describing is a state of passion. in the creative process, and everybody is worthy of it. Matter of fact, it's what you're here for. These are all just my perspectives, you know. So
absolutely, what you've described is exactly why I love being a creative person and the creative process. It's that joy in having an idea and like, I'm going for it, and that you're excited about it. I'm like, I don't even care if anyone else likes this. I'm excited about it, and that's why I'm here.
That's exactly it, and that's going to give you something that is infused with your quality, and that affects everybody that experiences it, whatever it is. It'll be a hamburger, or, you know, whatever it is. And so the question you asked was, how does, because I only ever did that. I don't know how or why. I didn't know I was doing it, but like I said, I was in high school, and I just loved play. I loved the thing that was most interesting to me was to just be able to, you know, do something like. So I'm just making something up right now. That's my, you know, I can hear that with this thing. So that's my excitement, you know. And when you find yours, when you find the thing that just really excites you, every day is like heaven in a cup, you know. So I didn't mind if what happened. I didn't mind what would happen in the future. That's big.
Yeah.
I didn't know I didn't mind. So the interesting thing was when I was in high school, like I said, and I thought I'm going to be a high school music teacher, because my music teacher in high school, from 7th grade through 12th grade, had a profound impact. He taught me the secret. He gave me the keys to the kingdom. Yeah, Bill Westcott. And I thought, if I could do what Bill did for me and Satriani, because we were both, you know, I will have made a valuable contribution. Yeah. And I can go home and play my music and find my melodies. Well, I guess the universe had a different idea for me, you know, because there was something else going on. All through my teenage years, I had this bedroom and a big stereo, and I blasted rock and roll and jumped around the room like a crazy rock star in the mirror. This was, you know, this was a kind of a childhood let go fantasy. I think a lot of people did it. I destroyed a bunch of brooms.
I'm guilty as well, Steve.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, you become what you think about, because all through those early years, I talk about myself and certain things that I've recognized that I share because I know they'll be helpful for others, you know. But there's any number of ways of, you know, conducting your creativity. But so I wanted to understand music more. So I went to college, and that was, went to Berkeley, and that was kind of like something that just came. I didn't, it was something I thought about, and then with Zappa, that, it came. It's not like you go out and you go to Frank Zappa, hey, I want to be in your band. It has to, there has to be something, and I happen to have the tools for that. And then with Alcatraz, you know, that was the only time in my life I auditioned for anything except for Frank. And that was the only time I ever said, okay, I want to go do this. But then after that, Dave Roth called me, Whitesnake called me, the Crossroads movie, they called me, FIFA, they called me. It's always been that, you know. If I've reached out in the business to do something, it would be things like starting a record company, you know, other kinds of creative things. So the answer to your question is, it's odd to me, but everything seems to have been handed to me on a silver platter. based on the things that I like. I mean, you could say, well, you're not a really successful pop star. Well, if I would have tried to do that, I would have been out of alignment with my true inner being's desire for whatever music. So there's fantasy, and then there's your reality. Your reality is what's your goods? What do you have? You know, and how are you going to bring them into the world? Your fantasy is an egoic destination because you believe that in the having of it, you'll be happier. Wait till you see how that works out for you. So you can tell the difference. You can tell what voice you're following by the quality of your experience along the way. Are you fighting? Are you blaming others? It's so I can say these things now because they're so obvious to me. They weren't obvious. If you're blaming others, that means you're expecting somebody else to do it for you. Your true inner being that finds its creative compass does not need anything like that. Because what it does is, it goes here, and if that's not working, it goes around it, or it goes over there. Whereas if it's a fantasy, it goes over here, and when the record company says, we're not signing you, you suck, you blame them for the lack of your success. Even the words of it sound insane, you know? So don't buy into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I'm talking.
No, this is all.
He's a great host, but I'm not giving him a chance.
Yeah, I want to dive into some of your creative process because I've always wondered, what does someone like Steve Vai do when his daily practice rhythm or writing rhythm and what you might do to approach your own music compared to some of the collaborations you've done with other musicians for records that you've done, and then you've had brand partnerships like the FIFA thing we already talked about. But is there a daily creative rhythm that you have that you just keep chugging through, or is it different depending on what mode you're in at that time? Like, I'm working on this solo project, I'm working on this band project. How does that look for you?
Well, probably similar to how it works for you, because I've seen some of your accomplishments.
Steve, you're so kind.
And they do require that. I read it was like 30 years in a band, and how you bring certain things together. Say the guy's a player. When I say player, I mean he's found his, and there's great. So it's the same kind of thing. Whatever it is your responsibility is, or whatever gig you take, that will take the lion's share of your focus. But there's certain elements that stay the same through any project. And there's certain things that I've recognized that are very, very helpful that have nothing to do with actually what it is you're working on or what your contribution is. And I say this because it works, and it's the most important thing in your arsenal. And what that is, I believe, is your attitude. Mm-hmm. Your attitude with others, the dynamic that you create with another creative person or another person. Is it friendly? Is it supportive? Is it exciting? Is it co-creative? Are you working with somebody to get the best of both of you and not just the best of your idea to rule, you know? So this is what I mean by attitude. If you lose that gig, are you destroyed? Or do you feel like, all right, that's not working, that only means I'm going this way. So there's a, and I only know this because I was a wreck. You know, I went through some very challenging. I talk about how handed to me on a silver platter. That's gigs and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, I've had my challenges in life. You know, nobody gets away from it. You can't avoid challenges in life. You know, but they were never really in the music business, you know. So your attitude is really your calling card. It's the thing that will create an experience that you can look back at and smile. And if you don't have that, what you have to look back at is painful. And I know this everybody knows this. I'm not saying anything. Everybody knows it. They may not recognize that they're doing it, you know. So, you know, and for someone like myself, touring is, it's a very close-knit environment. You're living with people. There's no secrets at sea. Any little foible that somebody has can become exaggerated, you know. But there's a great brotherhood that can develop, you know, Generation X. And when I did that with Nuno, Ingve, Tosin, and Zach, can you imagine those guys and me on a bus? For months and months and months. They thought I was crazy. It was the greatest. Those guys.
Sounds like a great reality TV show.
Oh man, I can't even tell you. I would do that all the time because it was just such a great experience. You know, I look back and so that's what your attitude will create those great experiences. But if you go into something, and your attitude is based on the quality of the thoughts in your head, how you're thinking about the people around you that you're working with. This doesn't mean that you compromise if you don't feel like something is right, but there's a high quality no. You have a high quality no when you're being, when you have a friendly attitude. It doesn't hurt anybody, you know, it's not, there's nothing to take personal because it's not in your head to be attacking somebody. It's in your head to be creative and move forward with fun, interesting things. So what I noticed after 50 years, basically, is your attitude is the most important thing. And you're the only one in control of that. If you believe that your attitude is dictated by things going on in the outside world, like, well, I can't be because of that, you're just wrong. I'm sorry to say, you know, that's not me saying that. It's just, it becomes obvious that you're in control of the way you choose to see things. Are you attacking yourself, or are you being co-creative? So that's really what I find to be the most important thing. Everything else is important. Your education, if you want it, the quality of your ears, your technique, who you work with, how you make ends meet, when you're going to do this, the choices you make, all of that's important. But it is of relative importance. Of prime importance is your attitude. That's what you take with you, and that's what gives you quality of life experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. When my band was taking shape, they actually had a much better guitar player playing for them, but they could not stand being on the bus with him. And they fired him, and then I came along like, Kevin's a good hang, let's keep him around, he'll figure out the guitar.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like getting on a bus for that long is like taking a shot of truth serum.
Yes, it is. I want to talk about, we got this gorgeous guitar behind us, and you've had such a long-standing, iconic partnership with Ibanez. I could pull up a whole bunch of different signature series guitars from different brands on the screen, and people are like, that might be so-and-so, but then I put a Steve Vai guitar on the screen, and everybody knows that's a Steve Vai guitar. Talk about how that partnership started, and you're going on 40 years with them, so obviously it's been an amazing relationship that you guys have worked so well together for so many, and this is a brand new model that's not even out yet. This is a prototype from what I'm told.
Yeah, this is David Bonvillain Flame guitar, isn't it?
Gorgeous. There's some details you can't see from a distance. If you could see the pickups, there's some incredible detail in them.
Mike Mesker specials here on the engraving. Well, you know, again, like I say, I lucked out. You know, it came to me. When I had joined Dave Roth, okay, well.
Were you already playing in Ibanez? And like, what was the story behind the cutout? Too? Because I know there's a story behind that. I wasn't.
Okay, I'll give you the story. It's so I've told it so many times. Okay, so I loved Strats when I was a kid because they had whammy bars, and the moment I saw a whammy bar, I'm like, yes.
They need to come back.
I don't know why, but Jimmy Page didn't play a Strat. He played a Les Paul. And there was something really cool to me about Les Paul. I liked the way they sounded better than Strats. Because Strats to me, I don't know, they weren't rock and roll, you know? They didn't have like, and you know, we're talking about 13-year-old ears. You know, I didn't know anything. But when I play a Les Paul, they weren't comfortable. And when I play a Strat, I wasn't crazy about the sound. So when I started working for Frank Zappa, Frank was completely irreverent when it came to like antique vintage. I mean, he took a guitar that Jimi Hendrix burned, and it had the pickup with lighter fluid and everything. You could see it all. And he just threw that away and hacked into the guitar, put in these parametric EQs, changed the neck, and the body is burnt. I mean, it's a historical guitar. And Frank was and he would do that with all these guitars. So I was so young and so impressionable, I just thought, well, you could do whatever you want. Who's to stop you, right? So, because it would be considered very irreverent to take a Strat and do anything to it, touch it, you know? But I started thinking, and this is the interesting thing where I say, when you're in your lane, ideas come to you that make sense to you. And a few things that made sense was, why not have somebody make a guitar that is based on all the things that you like? Now I was, before anything, you know, I was like maybe right after Frank, you know, before even Alcatraz well, it was after Alcatraz then that I started, I thought there was a little guitar shop here in Hollywood, it's called Performance Guitar. And I went in there and they had this body, and I thought, I want 24 frets on a neck because, on a Strat style body, because at the time it just didn't exist. There was 24 frets, I think maybe Jackson was one of the first to have like a 24 fret. But I wanted 24 frets, and I wanted a cutaway that I could reach the notes. Do you ever notice like Strats and Les Pauls, they give you the frets, but how do you play them? You know? So, and I've got huge hands, so this is perfectly measured to my hand. So it just doesn't get in the way. And there's free access to high notes. And I thought, well, these high notes are hard to get. So I'm gonna scallop the last 4 frets. Yeah. And the reason to give an Yngwie Malmsteen quote, because you could really grab the note by the balls, man. So then there was other things. Now I didn't know I was doing this. See, I wasn't sitting there thinking, I'm gonna design something that everybody's gonna love. Nobody knew me, and nobody cared what I was doing. So it was fun. You know, it was like, okay, now for the sound, the single coil pickups were just not going to do it for me. And the first one, to put a humbucker that I knew of, you know, because whenever I say these things, I always get mail. Oh no, this guy was doing this. Okay, fine, but this is just
before
what
the
I know.
internet. You could feel like you were the only one doing something.
Yeah, it was Edward.
Yeah.
You know, Edward he put the double coil on a Strat style guitar, and everybody went, you know. So I like that idea because I like the sound of the humbuckers. And I really like the sound of the in-between when you split the coil so you have 2 single coil pickups, and that's very Stratty. And that was one of the things about the Strats that I loved, but you can't get that. So that idea of splitting because these 5-position switches at the time, you know, they weren't very technical. We had to make a 5-position switch that split the coil on this pickup when it's in between, and then it's single coil and then another split. So you get 2 single coils. Now, I didn't know, and I was told later that this was unique at the time. So great, but that's nice, but it works for me. So I was looking for things that made sense and worked for me. And this is how you innovate. This is your best innovations will be those things that make sense to you and you see clearly. So when I was always in love with the whammy bar, and I could never understand why on like Strats it would only go up like a little bit. You know, like maybe a whole step, if you've got it set up, a whole step would be a lot. And I wanted it to go to the ceiling, you know? And I didn't know why, so I looked at it and I'm like, oh, it's the block. So I took a hammer and a screwdriver, you know, and sure enough, you know, it'll go up an octave if you got it set up right. So this was, as I was told later, the first truly floating tremolo, because then at the time, but I still hadn't been with Ibanez. I was developing these things, and then with my tech at the time, Elwood, Patrick Francis. It was fantastic. Now he's playing bass in ZZ Top. And so that was another kind of change. And then there was just some simple things, like I moved the volume down, I got rid of one of the tones because I kept hitting the volume, you know. And then I just look at these guitars and their input jacks, you know, simple things like, you know, with a Strat, you step on it and it falls out. Yep. You know, Les Paul, you step on it, it falls out. So I'm like, just put it on an angle like that, you know. It doesn't fall out. Mm-hmm. So I had 4 made, and they were working really good. And I needed to have them made because that's when I had joined Dave Roth. Mm-hmm. So the moment you join a big rock band like that, and you're a guitar player, the guitar companies are interested in having you play their instrument. It's an endorsement, you know, and I get that. And in the beginning when I was with Alcatraz, the idea of getting free guitars was so exciting. You know, like, yes, I don't care if it's a nice guitar or not, just free. It's free. So I won't mention the companies, they're not even around anymore, but there were these crap guitars that I would get, but they were free, you know. And I learned quickly that when you start doing that, you're putting your name to something. You know, you're saying, I approve of this piece of crap. You know, and I didn't you don't realize these things until later when you see yourself in a photo with it and you're like, ah. So I'd gotten over that, and I had these 4 guitars, and they were working great with David Lee Roth because they had everything I wanted. It was miraculous, you know. And then the companies started to approach me, and really I said, well, thank you, but no, I don't want to do an endorsement. Mm-hmm. I have my guitars, and they said, well, you know, we'd like to make them for you. We'll make them for free. Yeah. And so I said, well, okay, well, here's the specs, and I sent that out to a lot of companies. Mm-hmm. And they would come back and, you know, they'd have to give me these beautiful instruments, but they weren't this. Mm-hmm. You know, it would be sort of their instrument with little, you like these kind of frets and you like this kind of thing. So I was like, well, thanks, but you know. And or they would give me, and this is very common, they would give me one of their newer kinds of designs and hope that the artist picks it up and plays it because it gives focus mm-hmm. to the new design. This happens all the time. There's nothing wrong with it, but there was no new designs that I wanted this. And even Ibanez had sent me their Maxis, which was not this. And it was the same thing. The moment I saw it, I said, thank you, but no way, you know? And then to tool your company to be able to make a completely new instrument is a heavy lift.
Yeah.
So they got to be very careful with these things, you know, because I was unknown. Well, because at that time I was with Dave, so yeah, they were not many companies were willing to retool their machines to create a whole different instrument for this crazy Vai that wanted all these things and a handle, you know. So, but then Ibanez, they just delivered, man. I was at my house. They came by and they had a gem. It wasn't called a gem at the time. And it was this. And it was my guitar, but better. And then it dawned on me, this is a quality company. They made exactly what I wanted. And okay, you know, let's see how it goes. And that's another, sorry.
Yeah, please don't drop it.
That's number 2.
It's yours though, if you
that's
drop it. Yeah.
Actually, that one's not mine.
That's right, they were talking about sending you
No,
something.
I don't get mine until August.
Yeah.
I have one.
What,
So let me just, I want to put a cap
Yeah.
on that. So Ibanez, when I decided to work with them on the gem, it must have been very difficult for them because I had said, yes, this is the guitar. I want it to be released in 3 day glow colors. And by the way, it has a handle. And this is a conservative Japanese company, you know. But to their credit, they just said, you know, okay, let's let this guy run with it. We don't, you know, and bam, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And having the opportunity to work with a creative company like that is interested in manifesting your kooky ideas is just another one of those kind of pinch me things, you know, because when you go to them and you say, I want to make a guitar, I'd like you to make me a guitar that has a half-size bass neck or 3/4 size bass neck, first 2 strings fretless, a 12-string with half of the neck fretless, a 7-string in the middle. I want 13 harp strings over here. I would like a piezo on each, sustainers, a guitar synthesizer built right here, and also a sample and hold, and I want it to look like a dragon. Oh, wait a minute, a steampunk dragon.
I was gonna say it's steampunk.
You know, so, and they're just like, yes sir, you know, and breaking out their knives and you get the Hydra.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, wow.
Which I got to see that guitar at the NAMM show a few years back. It's incredible,
Yeah.
like how all that stuff is fit into
Yeah,
that.
they never back away from a challenge,
Yeah.
and they're innovative. A lot of the stuff, you know, they bring to me. But then there's also artisans that contribute from various sectors, like this. This guy, David Bonvillain. He is one of the most artistic guitar aesthetic people that I know. There's just a quality when somebody gets it. And he made, you know, this was his. So it's been such a great, incredible ride.
Yeah. So much has changed in the industry over your career, and we have so many young artists here, and I wish we had a ton more time because I felt like we've just scratched the surface
Yeah, I know,
of all the stories and advice you could give us. But what are some of the things that, as you look at the current music landscape, some advice you'd have to artists, and maybe things that you think are better now, or things that you think are a new challenge for artists that are trying to start their journey in 2026 and beyond?
Well, I think whenever you start at any period, you have new technology at your fingertips, and you're going to bring it forward. So, like I say, it really is whenever you're approaching these kinds of things, if you can be friendly with them. You know, for instance, the music business, it's not uncommon for people, young musicians, to see them as some devil or something. But the music business itself, and I'm not referring to the nefarious actors, and they exist in any field, except politics, of course.
Nothing but angels there.
Yeah, with that aside, the music business is really a great business. It's one of the few that you can become successful overnight. So here's where I'll display my advice of having a good attitude. Right now is the best time for a young musician to be in the music business. And the reason I say that is because there's more of an opportunity now to be creative on your own. You can record a record in your kitchen on your laptop, you know, or on your iPhone, you know, based on how creative you are. You can post things instantly. You can market yourself. None of this could be done back in the 80s and 90s. You were paying $500 an hour for studio time, and you needed a label to promote everything. So now I think it's easier, but also to be able to communicate with others is so much easier. I mean, it's remarkable how I was looking for a bass player for my last record, and for a couple of songs for a song, and also for the Steve Vai record. And I kept seeing Henrik Linder, you know, and I'm like, that guy, that's the guy. I would never have, you know. So I think today is a better, it can be easier, but it all is only ever gonna boil down to your attitude. So for instance, people say, oh, AI, you know, it's gonna destroy the music business. AI is gonna deliver to you what you're expecting from it. So if you're expecting to use it in a way that's not going to be productive for you or whatever, then it won't be. But is it possible to be friendly with it? Meaning, how can this serve me? How can AI serve me? Not how is it going to destroy my career and the music business in general. But you see, that's a flip in perspective. And this is the thing I'm talking about that will be of greatest value to you through your entire career. Can you flip the script from complaining about something to asking, how can this serve me? And with AI, there's a lot of ability for it to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter how many AI machines they make, no, they're not going to stop me from picking up a guitar and playing. And that's, to me, is like...
It's not going to do it for you.
Yeah. And what I find is that I hope that AI drives people to dive deeper into their artistic experience and not feel so pressured to just put out content. I felt like we got to a season of where people, the guiding advice was just create content. And I'm hoping it brings us back to, hey, there's plenty of content. Let's create something that feels, something that moves people, that I enjoy and makes me happy to create.
Yeah, and I think that's the case with a lot of people. I think that's their perspective all through the centuries, you know, with whatever was available. And with the AI thing, there's people coming into the world now that will not know the world without AI. So that it'll be very natural to them. So we can't conceive of what their perspective on it is and how they use it. Because we're always like, well, you know, this is going to be bad. But, you know, like, can you imagine can you imagine coming into the world without records? And then all of a sudden there's records, and people are saying this is going to ruin everything because live music is dead. You know, so it's really based on how you choose to look at it, because that's the path you'll manifest.
Well, Steve, we're about at time. It's been incredible having you here. Do you have any final parting words for us today before we head out on our weekend of learning and networking? And you're heading back out on tour, and you're playing in LA in a couple of weeks, right? Or is it like a next week? I know you're wrapping through it. If you're in LA, you should definitely see it.
I never look.
You just get on the bus.
I looked the night before. Oh, I'm going, okay.
But do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
Obey your parents and use a condom.
That's not that kind of confidence.
No, not that kind of But I would say this, you're doing great. You're doing great. And how do I know that? Because you're here, you're interested in learning, you're gathering great tools, and we need you, and we need your high quality creativity. We do. The world needs that from everybody. There's never a need, although it might seem like so, to compromise that. Woo! Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Steve, thank you for your heart to educate the younger generation. I know you do a lot of work outside of your playing to just help bring up the next generation of musicians, and we appreciate you so much. Thanks for being here. Steve Vai, everybody. Give him a round of applause. All right, we got a break time now, and then all the sessions start.